We've heard lots of really good things about PBL, but what would you say is hard about it?
As you heard, the project that the freshmen did last year, Food for Thought, after that was over, me and a couple of my friends, I know David was in this group and so was Lily, we made like a PBL review group, and so we met one day and we sort of talked about the stuff that we thought went well with the project and the stuff that we thought didn't go well with the project. And one of the biggest things we found was student grouping. That's really hard to get a really good group. Sometimes there's always going to be kids that just don't want to do it. It's really hard for teachers to do it. I think some of ours have found really good ways. If you let the kids pick like first choice, second choice, third choice, and then pair them together, and then one thing I've heard of, our school doesn't do this, I'm trying to get them to though, is a test run. And so for like maybe 1 or 2 days, you're just with your group and you just sort of see how it goes. But student grouping is definitely one of the biggest problems I found with PBL. Yeah.
So adding on to student grouping, my science teacher actually, we were doing a Rube Goldberg project just at the end of the year. And she had us get a note card. We wrote who we thought we'd work well with and who we thought we wouldn't work well with. So she promised that she wouldn't put us with anyone we said we wouldn't work well with, and we also had 3 choices. So everyone was really put into very good groups in that project, and it was really fun.
So thinking about things about PBL that are hard, I'd say critique was probably one of the hardest for me because I didn't want to hear what was wrong with my project, and then I also felt really bad giving other people advice that wasn't so positive, but it's taken a couple years, but I feel like I finally mastered like critique and warm and cool feedback. And I also believe now that it's one of the most important aspects because now I feel like I'm asking for critiques everywhere, and just in life, I can look at something more objectively, and I can look at what's good about it, what's bad about it, how to change it, and I just feel like it's a super, super useful skill that I'm going to use forever, but it was definitely a struggle, but I feel like people should always try to pull through that because it's so worth it.
Okay. I think the hardest thing about PBL isn't really in the classroom, but when you first start out, especially when you've already gone through, like I started PBL when I was an 8th grader, and the year before that we were always talking about it and how we were going to transition into it. But that first year I kind of felt like I was a guinea pig and like I was being cheated of my education, and I really just I really hated it. And that was the first year I ever felt like that. But as the year went on, I realized that a lot of it was also just me being a student, and I think that kind of happens for everyone, feeling like you kind of are left behind, especially when you're at that age. And I can only imagine what the people, like their senior year, if that implementation was happening, because you do really kind of feel left behind in the beginning. But like no matter what, everything is a process, and PBL, the best thing about it is really that it always is getting better. It cannot go down. It cannot, you can't quit. You can only get better from when you begin. You can only get better. And so really the hardest part is when everyone is having kind of just the beginning nerves. And now I can say I love PBL, and I love going to school most of the time. And it really is just fun. And I mean, it's school, so it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna be hard no matter what you do. So, yeah.
Anybody else want to comment on that?
It's not the project that's hard, it's the people that you work with. That's what it's been for me. I think PBL makes it easier and funner. So when you're put in a bad group or put with a bad person, that's a challenging part for me.